Hey everybody, it's Matt Electric here, and we're back, not doing battling today. We're actually looking at a Pokemon, Azumarill, and how you can use it in your competitive battles in VGC since the Isle of Armor's release. Now, before we get into it, I do just have a couple of things to run through. The reason I'm not doing battling anymore on YouTube is because I was battling on YouTube and then battling on stream, and I just didn't see the point in it, so I wanted to do something different, which is why we're now doing sort of analysis type videos. The other thing is that Sunday the 5th of July is my birthday, and we will be doing a birthday stream that is starting at 10 AM BST, and we'll be going on for pretty much however long I want it to. We'll do things like playing Pokemon, I'm planning on playing some Sonic games, do some like Quiplash, get you guys involved, get Ellie involved and whatnot. So that's the thing. Happy 4th of July to you Americans. I know I've got a largish American demographic, and any links or any resources that we're using here, you'll find with the resources link in the description. Join the Discord, and you know what? Let's jump into Azumarill. What is it good at? When should you use it? When shouldn't you use it? Well, first of all, I'm going to go over a quick misconception. This misconception is around huge power. When people think of huge power, they think of obviously doubling the attack stat. But what people don't tend to realize is I'm fairly certain of this, not 100%, but I'm relatively certain. It doubles the actual stat. So I hear people speak about huge power. You're not doubling the base 50 attack stat. What you're doubling is the number. Doubling this number does not make it the same attack stat as a base 100 attack. And I'll show you this now, because obviously if you double this, you're going to get 224. Jirachi's base 100, its max attack is 167. And Zekrom here, with 150, actually doesn't even hit 224 itself. So, the Azumarill technically has a higher attack stat than Zekrom, which is mental. So, that's the first thing I just wanted to get out of the way before we progress into this video. The other thing is what kind of teams does Azumarill want to be on? Well, to be honest, it does have the priority Aqua Jet, but we are going to get more into Aqua Jet and the issues with it later on. But with the base 50 speed, if you can get Azumarill in under Trick Room, it could certainly work, especially with that mammoth attack stat. Base 50 is probably just slow enough where it works. I mean, I've been using Primarina under Trick Room recently, and it's been working fine. When Primarina is base 60, so I don't see a reason why it shouldn't work. Obviously, Conkeldurr with Thunder Punch does run around on Trick Room teams, so that is something you need to be a little bit wary of. But generally speaking, you should be okay to go ahead and run this thing under Trick Room. But you don't necessarily need Trick Room to get Azumarill to work. And the first set we're looking at is, of course, its iconic Bellydrum set. Bellydrum will drop you at half HP in order to maximize your attack stat, multiplying it by 4. So with huge power, we're looking at around 800, 900 on attack, which is ridiculously high at level 50. You want to be using the Citrus Berry, so you put yourself back up to 75%. The important thing when using a Bellydrum Pokemon, guys, and with the Citrus Berry, is this HP stat. Make sure it is an even number of HP. So either you give it 4 EVs, or you make it so it's... No, that doesn't work apparently. You need to give it the 4 EVs. Make it so it's 176. That way, when it does cut your... because of the way Pokemon's stats work, you need it to drop down... you need to be an even number, so it does drop it down to half. If it's an odd number, so let's say we were only at 175, this will leave us on... What? That half is... You know what? I can't do maths. Basically, this will leave you on an odd number, and it'll leave you on like 51% HP, which means it won't trigger the Citrus Berry. So it needs to be the... It needs to be that 176, so it's able to... Or even, I mean, to be fair, you're probably running this at max HP anyway, so you're probably looking at 244, so it's 206. Wait, does this work? Yeah, that's probably your best bet. But you don't do that, because you're wasting IVs then. Wasting EV, sorry. Something along those lines. Just make sure the HP is even, for God's sake, alright? That's the same with Snorlax, anything of that nature. Now, you could switch out Protect for something like Liquidation, if you want a little bit more power. Now, here's the problem with Aqua Jet. With Dynamax, you're not taking as many Okos as you want to be. I've got a damage calc here of a +6 max attack as huge power Azumarill with the Citrus Berry. It's the same set we were using. This does not guarantee an Oko against a Dynamax Tyranitar with no HP and defense investment. That's a problem, because Azumarill relies on taking those Okos after the Aqua Jet. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think you'll see a lot of Bellydrum Azumarills. I mean, we can have a look on Pikalytics here and see how common Bellydrum is. You can see there that Bellydrum isn't even in the like the top 10 moves. So people have already realized that you're not taking the Okos. You don't Oko D-Max or G-Max or Dynamax, whatever. Charizard in the Sun either. You will Oko it without Sun. But that's just so you're being mindful, guys. +6 Azumarill is not Okoing Dynamax Tyranitar. Which is why I mentioned Trick Room earlier, because Trick Room might be a better option for it. The nice thing about Azumarill as well, though, is having that Fairy type. You do get Fairy Stab, which is a very, very nice type to have. Fairy is one of the best types in the game. But as I said, you could replace Aqua Jet or Protect for Liquidation. Azumarill does get a lot of other moves as well. You get Brick Break, which gives you an option to break screens. Although Azumarill, being an offensive Pokemon in this situation, probably not the Pokemon you want really doing that. We've got the option of Ice Punch as well. We've got Steel Roll, which obviously Wolf Glick recently used, I believe, on an Azumarill. Which that does actually work quite well with Aqua Jet. In terms of being able to get rid of Psychic Terrain and then firing off an Aqua Jet yourself. But realistically speaking, if I'm using a Bellydrum variant, I'm probably planning on Dynamaxing it. The Bellydrum variant as well is very reliant on you having a Follow Me user. Now, Amoonguss will not work in this situation because you want to be able to redirect super effective moves away, and Amoonguss is weak to... Rage Powder doesn't redirect grass moves away, because grass types are immune to Powder. So, that gives you a problem. You're very reliant on likely something like a Togekiss using Follow Me, or maybe even a Clefairy. Clefairy wouldn't be a bad option, but you cannot use you cannot use Amoonguss in this situation. As proved in this situation where you've got teammates. Well, I'm surprised Amoonguss is that high up actually in third. But like I said, you're not going to be able to redirect those grass moves away. So you're better off something like a Togekiss. Moving on, we've got sort of these 4 attack types of Azumarill. This is an Azumarill that you wouldn't really plan on Dynamaxing, because obviously you're not going to get the Choice Band boost if you're going to Dynamax it. Similarly, I would always go Aqua Jet just to give you the priority option. If you just, let's say you're in a situation where you need a priority move just to win the game, you bring in Azumarill and you take the knockout with Aqua Jet. Obviously, a huge power boosted with Choice Band is going to be ridiculous, as we've already seen. So we've seen here that 112 doubling up to 224. You can then add another 50% onto that to boost its attack further, which is pretty mental, just coming straight out of the Pokeball. So it certainly shouldn't be slept on. Choice Band Azumarill, but as I said, you're not going to be planning on Dynamaxing this thing. I've already mentioned Azumarill's sort of variety of moves it gets. Superpower, Ice Punch, Steamroller. We'll get to Bounce in a minute. It gets a few different things, and it certainly... It's dependent on what your team can deal with and what your team can't deal with. I don't think I need to go any more about Choice Band. Similarly, Assault Vest. Assault Vest would be one that you would consider Dynamaxing, purely based off the fact that you can still utilize your Assault Vest while you are maxed. Now, obviously, when you've got something as high as HP as this, base 100s of a very respectable HP stat, slapping the Assault Vest on there as well, you're looking very, very good. Now, you've got a few options. And now, this could potentially work quite nicely as a Trick Room situation. Steel Roller giving you a +1 defense boost. You've already got the +1 special defense with Assault Vest. So, with its enormous HP, you are getting you just have stupid defense with stupid HP, right? Which is, you just become insanely bulky. You know, you pair that up with a Pokemon that can help heal you, say with Life Dew or with Heal Pulse. Something like that, Pollen Puff potentially. But you can even combine this, you could even combine this with something like a Ribombee. Ribombee gets things like Ally Switch, Speed Swap, Pollen Puff to really support this Azumarill. And it could work very, very nicely. You don't necessarily need Aqua Jet if you're going to be looking at something like Trick Room. Especially with the amount of Indeedee running around. you know, like, Indeedee is on such a higher number of teams, and blocking Aqua Jet's going to be really, really unfortunate if you're essentially losing a move slot there. So you can even look at something like Superpower. Now, obviously, when Dynamax, Superpower will help boost your attack further. So you know you can get an attack boost. You can get an attack boost with Superpower. You get a steel boost with or a defense boost with steel move. Wow, my words! And then you've got Stab, Liquidation, Player Off. So that's certainly an option. Also, something that shouldn't be slept on, guys, is setting up that rain with the Max Geyser and then being able to blast off Aqua Jets afterwards. As I said, Aqua Jet dependent on the situation. So this is another option. It's a little more of an offensive option. You would need this to be faster. And I've put a specific speed EVs here so that you're outspeeding Dragapult at +2 speed. Bounce obviously gives you access to max airstream, and with the Life Orb boost, you're just doing extra damage, which is great. I haven't done the HP EVs in any way that would optimize Life Orb damage. Essentially, you don't want it to be a multiple of 10, so I'd probably drop that down to 75, and then you just slap 4 in each year. That's probably the EVs I would go with it. But Bounce, Liquidation, Superpower, Player Off, get the speed boost, get some attack boost, and then you can hit things with Stab. Because you're getting speed boost, you don't necessarily need Aqua Jet, I suppose. This works nicely alongside a Tailwind user, because you can set that early Tailwind up and then immediately get Azumarill getting the boost. And then once Tailwind goes down, you've already got those speed boosts to help carry out the battle. Likewise with Tailwind, obviously, like I said, you're able to outspeed Dragapult. You've then got access to just being able to boost up your speed, boost up your attack. Life Orb, just a nice, healthy damage boost combined with Superpower. And I don't think there's a huge amount to say, really, else on these offensive Azumarill sets. Obviously, just be mindful with your moves versus running it in Trick Room. So this type of Azumarill or this type of Azumarill will work brilliantly under Trick Room. This one, not so much, obviously, because we're running Bounce to try and boost our speed. And obviously, base or 107 speed, you don't really want to be using that under Trick Room. What is the minimum speed we hit, out of interest? Out of interest here. 49. Okay, yeah. So you can absolutely utilize that under Trick Room for sure. So we've gotten through 4 offensive Azumarill sets, which really utilize huge power. I have seen some people running Bellydrum with Sap Sipper, just reverting back to this one. I personally wouldn't recommend that. I mean, we've already seen how little damage we're doing with an Aqua Jet against a Tyranitar when Tyranitar is Dynamaxed. If you're not running Aqua Jet, you could run Sap Sipper. But I would just prefer the damage boost from huge power, so you're ensuring those knockouts. Like I said, with this type of set, you're going to be running Redirection anyway, so I don't think it's a huge... I don't think you necessarily need to worry about the... I've lost my train of thought. You don't necessarily need to worry about taking all the Okos in the world, because obviously Azumarill's not going to be the Pokemon taking the hit. But you will need to build the team around Azumarill if you're going to utilize a Bellydrum set, because if this is your... It's similar to Lapras, I suppose. Lapras is with a G-Max Lapras team, you use Lapras as kind of like the glue of the team. It's the Pokemon that's going to set up that Aurora Veil, especially the weakness policy variants. The team is built around setting up that Lapras. Very similar would be this Azumarill. You have to build the team so you're ensuring that Bellydrum goes up. Anyway, enough of offensive Azumarill. What kind of creative shenanigans can we do with Azumarill? Now, Azumarill does get access to both Parasong and Whirlpool, which means you can trap an opponent in and Parasong them. Now, this works much better in singles than it does doubles. You could utilize this a lot better with a Gothitelle, or potentially a Pokemon such as G-Max Centiskorch or G-Max... what's the snake thing called? I can't remember. Sandaconda. There we go. That will work a lot better in this scenario. But it's pretty simple how this works. You trap the Pokemon in, you Parasong. Sap Sipper here, of course, to give you an immunity, because you're not relying on your attack stat. We've got Scald instead of Liquidation, because Azumarill's special attack is actually higher than its attack stat. And then Protect there just gives you an option of being able to stall out a Parasong turn. And then the other set that I've got here is a more of a support-orientated one with Charm, Helping Hand, Icy Wind. I think there are better Pokemon for these two types of sets, such as Primarina. So I don't really see the point in using Azumarill in this way. how good can the Azumarill really be in this metagame? Probably not as good as it once was. I do think it could be a potential threat under Trick Room if you want a water type to use under Trick Room. Could be really nice, actually, if you're running... if you've got a problem against rain teams. Because Azumarill will beat... If you can set the Trick Room up, Azumarill will beat Kingdra. Right? There's no way Azumarill won't beat Kingdra under Trick Room conditions. So, how would I use Azumarill personally? Use it under Trick Room. I think you go Trick Room. I think you go Assault Vest. You could also go Life Orb under Trick Room, I suppose, and maybe just change out that bounce move. One of the other biggest problems with Azumarill is the introduction of Grassy Glide. Obviously, Rillaboom is the most common Pokemon at the moment. You can see here it's at number 1. And with Grassy Glide being a thing, it does mean that even if you are running Aqua Jet, it will still outspeed you and hit you for super effective damage. Azumarill has never really had to worry about other priority users, because other priority movers, obviously, you've got Quick Attack and Extreme Speed, which are neutral, Vacuum Wave, which it resists, Ice Shard, which it resists, Mach Punch, which it resists, Shadow Sneak, which is neutral, Aqua Jet, which it resists. Is that all of it? Sucker Punch, which it resists. It's never really had to worry about priority. But unfortunately, Rillaboom has problems. So maybe if you're looking down this route, maybe you look at something like an Indeedee. Psychic Surge is going to block priority anyway, so there's no point in running Aqua Jet. Maybe you go for the Bellydrum, you go for Follow Me, then have Azumarill Dynamax. Maybe you could even switch that out for maybe. Just as an option, if you wanted to, you take the EV spread from the bounce one. Maybe you could utilize this somehow. I don't know. But the point of these videos is to give you guys some ideas. Go and try out some of these Pokemon which, you know, aren't super high up in the ladder. I think we saw Azumarill was 26, so it's not incredibly high. And I haven't seen it really at all in battling on the ladder. But obviously this is the first type of video that I've done of this thing. It probably needed to be better formatted, but if you guys have got any tips to help me give you guys better information on these analysis type videos, hopefully I've given you enough food for thought for you to go and try out Azumarill. Let me know what Pokemon you guys want to see in the comments, and we'll do that next. I want to try and upload maybe 2 of these a week if I can. But the point of the video, like I say, is just to give you guys food for thought, and just go and you know, have some fun. Have a go with a Parasong variant. Have a go with a support variant if you want to. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend Choice Band if you want to Dynamax it. My personal opinion: slow, Assault Vest, under Trick Room. Go for it. Hopefully I'll see you on Sunday's birthday stream and in the future on Twitch. I'll see you then.